Hi, it's Cindy from Quilter's Cupboard. We're going to finish up our purse party with showing you some of the interfacings, some of the tools that we use, and then also tell you a few of the little tricks to make it easier when you're putting all that stuff together in your bag. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, you saw in some of our purses that we showed, some of these little links. Great hardware, really nice to give a little accent to your bag. These are those magnetic snaps that we put on just about everything. Again, come in several different colors. Sometimes we forget to put a magnetic snap, or we think, I didn't want a closure. But after the fact, you do. These are really nice. They're actually a sew-on one. So even after your bag is made, it's not too late to put a magnetic closure. These we saw on quite a few things. This is the swivel clip and the D-ring. So you can take off a removable strap. Really nice. Again, several colors. So that's a little bit about the hardware. Some tools to make your life a little bit easier. My number one favorite, and when these first came out, I didn't carry them because they kind of had a little bit of, well, people thought they had issues. This is called a friction pen. And what happens with this is I can draw anywhere on my fabric. So when I'm doing quilting lines, a lot of times I'll do my lines, and then I don't come out even, or my design looks icky. Well, what these are is they iron away. And so when I said they were problems, there's not really any problems. If you put your quilt outside in the snow, it's going to come back. Now, I actually ironed on it. My lines went away. But I don't even have to touch the iron to my project. And there are a bunch of different colors. There's a set of black, red, and blue. And then the set I'm using, I just think is more fun, is orange, purple, and a hot pink. And they are erasable, so I think I can just actually erase as well, but I just grab my iron. And so, because a lot of times you can't put the iron to the project when it's done, but if I just hover my iron, it's just the heat required, they're going to come right off. I didn't turn my iron up very high because you know what? This iron really smells. Oh, there they went away fine. So you guys don't know that we're going, ooh, hot iron here in the background. These are wonderful. Now, these work for a lot of marking, but my go-to is my Sew Line pencil. And that's what they look like. Comes with extra lead, but this is a beautiful ceramic pencil line. I can get a nice fine line. When I'm doing half square triangles, a lot of times this is what I'll use. I can do, I don't know, I just like it because it's not a soft lead, but I can draw very crisp lines. Then these guys can either erase off or they're a washout. There is black, pink, green, and white. The green tends to be my favorite because it kind of reflects the light and it shows up on both lights and dark fabrics. So this is definitely a go-to. We used to use the Dritz, the disappearing or the water-soluble, marking pens. They leave too big a line, and over the years, I think they tend to come back more than any of these products do. And plus, these guys don't dry up, which is a really nice deal. Also, number one on my list of favorites are the Clover, the Wonder Clips. So they're just little clips, and why I like them is because I can hold things together. So they were really meant originally as a binding clip. So once I do that, then I can just put my clips on. They also have markings so that you know that you folded in your binding exactly the right amount. The markings, there's 1/8, 1/4, and 1/2 inch marks. They're just kind of fun. But they work as another hand. I use them a lot on like vinyls and things where if you pin through, you're going to see a mark. But these will hold it great. Real excited that Clover then came out with these jumbo ones. So if you need to hold further in, they're about here, let me show you the picture in the front. I think they're about 1 inch deep now instead of the 1/2 inch deep. And they're great for your bigger projects. Because I do find that I really like these, but I couldn't clip in as far as I wanted to. So these new ones are fabulous. So when you have your birthday card that you want to come in, these are just a few things. I'd say your Christmas stocking, but it's February now, so we're going to move on to Mother's Day. Mother's Day's coming up. Heat press. I used to take my batting pieces. I would put them ends to ends, make sure I cut even, and do a zigzag. You could always see where that groove was. The heat press batting Sticks on, you put your two edges together, this goes on the top, you iron it, and your batting pieces. So if you've got a lot of little scraps of batting, you can use this to put them all back together, which is nice to use up scraps periodically. And this works on polyester battings as well, so your iron does not melt them. And great instructions inside. And, oh, orange strips. These are not called orange strips, they're called cutting edge strips. But we always just go orange strips. And what these do, these are a must in my beginning quilting class. This is also, oopsie, my absolute favorite ruler in the world. We carry the Creative Grids rulers. They have kind of sandpapers, pieces on the back, so they stick very well to your fabric and they don't move. My ironing board's moving, but my ruler's not moving. Very, very nice, easy to use rulers. But even the easiest to use rulers, if you're not paying attention and you want to cut a 2.5 inch strip, sometimes you don't get that 2.5 inch strip. So on the back of my ruler, I take these orange strips, and they're just clings. So they reuse over and over and over again. And they stick normally extremely nicely to the back. So I'm going to put 1, probably 2, and 3. And so when I go to cut my piece of fabric, not only do I go, ooh, that's as far as I'm going to go, but they also create a little bit of a lip. Works better not on the ironing board. And then I can cut easily. So my beginning quilting class, again, I use these because, you know, you get distracted and you think you've got that line. But what if you turned your ruler by accident? You no longer have that line. So these are indispensable to make your life a lot easier. They also make a purple version, which you can put on the bed of your sewing machine to keep yourself straight. So these are great. All right, so those are a few of my new tools. We'll talk about interfacing in a minute. I want to show you a couple things, but I forgot. These are our hottest ticket items. We got them just before AQS last year. We could not keep them in stock. Finally just got them back in. And why these are so remarkable is it's a very nice seam ripper. Nice, easy handle seam ripper. But what it has are these rubberized tips. So once you rip out your seam and then you have all those loose threads, this just comes across and takes them right off. Also works very nice for lint on clothing, and I clean my rotary cutting mat with them too. We thought maybe they might be a little gimmicky at first, but they're not. Everybody loves these. And if you have one, you recommend it because they're very, very nice. And there's my lint right on the edge of the ruler, or the seam ripper there. Okay, and these are called a seam fix. A couple fun colors, but they're just wonderful. All right. When we go to apply fusible interfacings, a lot of times we cannot tell which is the right and wrong side. The old fusible fleece, it's very obvious, but the newer ones, which are my absolute favorites, are, this is from Lazy Girl, and I don't know that I have, oh, Andre was probably trying to look. Lazy Girl. She does an entire line of interfacings. We talked about them a little bit in our video. Couple reasons I like these a lot. First off, her instructions are good. Inside each interfacing, she has the instructions for all of her interfacings. So she makes a face-it soft, a face-it firm, and those are going to be your woven interfacings. One's a heavy duty. So we talk a lot about decor bond. The face-it firm, that's going to be the heavy one. She also does some color coordination. All of her pink, it's a hot color, which means a hot iron is required. All of her non-fusibles are blue. We think cool, no iron. So she's tried to think it through just a little bit and not come up with too cutesy names. This one is the Dreamy Fusible. We use this one in place of fusible fleece. It's much nicer. It gives so much more body to the project. It's wonderful. But as these interfacings get more body, I think they're harder to see which is the right and the wrong of the fabric. So I usually hold it up to the light. If I can see the shine, I know that's the fusible. Sometimes you still can't. So I will always take a corner of the interfacing and a layer of fabric, top and bottom, just briefly touch it with my iron. Because briefly is not enough to heat it and melt it, so I guess briefly was not a good. Then I'm going to wait until it cools just a little bit because otherwise I know it's going to come loose. So I know that now it's stuck on this side, so I knew which was the fusible side. So that just kind of gives me a clue so I'm not accidentally sticking it to my ironing board. Okay, I'm going to yank it off of here. Then the other thing that Connie and I found that in our classes that we teach that people had the most problem with is applying the interfacings. So I will lay my interfacing down with my fusible side face up. Then I'm going to take my fabric piece, wrong side to the top. Because when you fuse something, you always want to fuse from the fabric side. Your iron will not like this. It will either melt it, it will stick, it's just not good. When you do, you're going to put your iron down, and you're going to, I usually count to 10 because I think that's a good temperature, or a good amount of time. I will lift, I will move it. I will lift, I will move. I'm not ironing, I'm just covering. And if I only leave it there 2 seconds and lift and move, it doesn't give it time to adhere like I would like it to. Also, as we talked about, let it cool, because right now I can pull it back off almost always because I haven't let it cool down. So if you're going to use steam, because a lot of these products use steam, it takes that hot, wet to fuse them down. So that's why I really do like the Lazy Girl, because I think the instructions inside are great. So that's applying your interfacing. She also makes, this is the Face It Firm, that heavyweight Decor Bond type. This one is used a lot in a lot of patterns. It is a woven, which means it has a grain line, a woven fusible, iron is fusible, duh, a woven interfacing. So the nice thing about this one is that it will add body to your project, but not weight to it. A lot of times we just need to have it firmer, but not heavier. And so the wovens are huge. The other one is, this is our slicker. So this is the iron on vinyl. Instructions are great, very easy to use. This one, oh, look, blue label. That means I'm not going to iron it. This one is my Stiff Stuff Firm. What I love about this is I can crinkle the sucker up and it pops right back. So if you're turning a bag and then by the time you turn it, it looks horrible, this stuff works great. We'd also talk real quickly in Purse Party about the 505 basting spray. While you're there, I'm running over here. 505 basting spray. This is, I love this stuff. It's a temporary spray adhesive. So sometimes at home, I need to have a fusible batting, but I don't have a fusible batting. I'm going to put my 505. I'm going to spray it on my batting. I'm going to stick my fabric. I'm going to flip it over, spray it on my batting, and stick my lining fabric. Then I can quilt it, and it's just like I used a fusible. This is all I use to base my quilts together. This brand, 505, is the only one to use. The other ones, there's one in a pink can, there's some other brands, they're nasty. They're very sticky, they're very smelly. 505 is the best, and it goes a long way. I can get 3 lap quilts out of 1 can. And then the last one is this Dreamy Fusible. So this is that really yummy, see, and if I do it, I don't know if you guys can see, but I can see that shine. So I know exactly which side I should iron on. And this is what we use in place of the fusible fleece now. Gives our bags so much body, they stand so much better. And I do believe that that kind of gives you an overview of our notions. Thank you. I'm getting this motion, which means I did not talk about this. This is made by Mary Ellen, the same lady that does the Best Press. If you're not familiar with Best Press, it's a starch alternative. It will give body to your projects. But this one's called, am I not turned properly? I Hate Ironing, which might sum up a lot of us. I know sometimes that I've hung my pants on the hanger too long and I take them off and I have these nice little creases and I put them on and I go, nah, nobody will see it. I'm not going to take them back off. Take the I Hate Ironing, spritz it on there. It just releases those wrinkles. Great for just about anything. I use it for lots of things, especially when you travel, if you've got shirts in there that are all wrinkled. But I Hate Ironing also has Soil Guard. Hey, it has Soil Guard on it too. I did not know that. Very cool. And no odor. Some people don't like the Best Press with the ones that have a scent. So this does not. So thank you very much. Come rushing down. If you have questions about any of this, you guys can always email me. And as I said in a previous one, if you've watched these and you have seen our little Band-Aid bag, which has now gone away, it was our little free pattern. If you email me, I'd be happy to email you a copy of the pattern. Thanks so much for watching these. We had such a blast at Purse Party. And I definitely want to thank Connie because she was huge help to me. And make sure you sign up for next year. Thanks.